What it do? Crispy Crew. What back at it again with another video. Honestly, by the time this video comes out, it might be considered after hours. So we're gonna be starting a new thing, what it do, Crispy Creamers. Uh, After hours. That was corny. Anyways, long story short though, I'm starting a new series on the YouTube channel. Nothing crazy, nothing high effort, anything. Just this new series I'm calling Revisiting the Classics. Now, for those who might not know this channel, I am very much an who's 12 chasing right now. My fault. I ended up hearing some sirens. I don't even know if it's gonna pick up in the video, but that's neither here nor there. You know, as people may not know, I like listening to a lot of different albums in just music in general. So we're going to be taking this time to basically be revisiting some of the albums that I consider classics within respective subgenres. You know, whatchamacallit. Now, this is gonna be a very much biased list. These are my personal classics. It's not gonna go off of the criteria of like, oh yeah, whatchamacallit, this is a classic because it has the greatest lyricist. Nah, none of that. Just albums that I personally fucked with heavy in whether it was my childhood, my teenage years, or right now as I am turning 21, or as I'm turning 22 in August. There's going to be a little bit of a bias. There's going to be some heavy hitters later on in this series, but I don't have the time to get to those at this exact moment. So for right now, we're just going to get into some of the things that, or some of the smaller heavy hitters in my personal discography, like albums that I've listened to crazy. So today we're going to be covering Squidtastic by Sahbabii. Those who don't know who Sahbabii is, as it stands, Sahbabii is considered one of the more unique artists out of the Atlanta rap scene. I wouldn't consider him an underground artist, considering the fact that he has had multiple charting hits and albums. Just to name a few, Pull Up With a Stick, there's no way niggas don't know about that song. But not only that, just the album as a whole, Sahim, which was one of his latest projects, which people do like a lot. But there's also some songs that are on this album that we're covering today that have been also in, I would say, talks for some of the, I wouldn't say greatest, but more popular songs on social media platforms for the past year. Now, overall, Squidtastic is one of those albums that genuinely had, in my personal opinion, the luxury of coming up in a time where people were more happy generally before, I wouldn't even say before, but during that time where a lot of rappers were starting to capitalize on the sound of very jolly, bubbly, high energy type of instrumentals. And I think that this is one of the best examples of that type of music generally. You see artists like Lil Uzi, Cochise, and Cardi at one similar standpoint, kind of utilize this in their music a lot. And I feel like Sahbabii did this with Squidtastic in a very, 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 for lack of better terms, very strong way. I don't really, I ain't gonna sit here and cap. I think I need to improve my vocabulary when describing art, let alone music. But I do think that, well, I'm just using this series as a chance to basically practice upon that. So bear with me for these first couple of episodes. Gener- Generally though, I don't know why my camera just messed up like that. But generally though, this album kind of specializes, like I said, in that very high, jolly, type of beats, you know what I'm saying? And I think that one thing about this album that I personally found to be a classic was just pure enjoyment. This album was really, 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 really fun to listen to when I was in high school, because that was when I first heard it. But then, like, even revisiting it as an adult, it's not one of those situations where, like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about all the nostalgia behind it. It's one of those situations where I feel like that it actually genuinely aged well. Because even, I'm not gonna say that, oh yeah, it's the subject matter that aged well, because it's the same things that hip-hop rappers or hip-hop artists have been talking about since damn near the beginning of hip-hop. Street knowledge, street things, and things involving gang activity has always been part of hip-hop's nature, for lack of better terms. Not only that, but also the explicit nature of the genre. It's always been a thing of that, and I think that this album kind of encapsulates that just just as good, if not better, than I would say a lot of his peers within it comes to Atlanta hip hop in specific. You know, if I'm being honest, I feel bad for not knowing who some of the actual producers were, and I probably should do more research before doing these videos. So for future reference, I'm probably going to do that for more often. But at the very least, I can say that production was definitely the most standout on this track, or not on this track, on this album, but also just Sahbabii's flow. I think that one of the biggest things that his fan base, including me, loves so much about Sahbabii's music is that he is damn near a master when it comes to mixing and matching flows for different types of songs and melodies and things of that nature. And that's one of his biggest strong suits in my personal opinion. And I feel like this is like a really good highlight of that specifically, you know what I'm saying? And to make matters even more specific, I guess, in this aspect, is that I feel like there were certain choruses that I really feel like they was in his bag, you know? And not only that, there was very specific songs that were on here that I felt like he really found a pocket and just like really stayed in that, you know? And I'm not even going to touch on Sahbabii's lyricism because in my personal opinion, while I do think he does have some standout bars in this album, I really do think that some of those bars or some of Sahbabii's lyricism that people really remember him for don't really come from this album, so I wouldn't really recommend that as one of the I guess selling points of Squidtastic in specific, you know what I'm saying? But at least when it comes to songs like Sunny Days and Aunt Pat, those are really good examples of like finding a pocket and then like really staying in it. And it really did help with the T3 feature that was on both of those songs, that both on the songs Boyfriend and Sunny Days. And for Auntie Pat, or I said Auntie Pat, for Aunt Pat, that song was really one of those examples where I'm like, yo, he really found, it was like actually one of the songs that I actually liked more coming back to, because for even disregarding the chorus, whatchamacallit, Sahbabii really knew how to like put some engagement into the beat and put energy into a song, you know what I'm saying? And I believe that he really showcased that he is like just a generally great song maker, and I do think that that's one of the standout tracks, which goes into the final section of this video. However, in my personal opinion, I do think that the best standout tracks from this album would be Army, you know, Anime World, Aunt Pat, and Squidrific, and also Tonight, you know, which is, granted, that's 5 songs off of a 12-song album. But I do think that while I do like the entire album, I feel like those are like his 5 strongest that came from this album. So I don't know, that's just the best way for me to like recommend in terms of like from a track by track standpoint. But generally, that's what I would say are some of the best songs from this album. This video is a little shorter because I didn't really have a whole lot to say about Sahbabii Squidtastic, even though while I do find it to be a personal classic, this was just one of those pure enjoyment and vibes situation, and there wasn't a whole lot that I had that I can artistically express for this video. So, with that being said though, if you did like this video, please be sure to deep fry that like button and subscribe. Whatchamacallit, you know, there's gonna be way more of these coming out very soon. And there's also going to be some other videos that I have planned, and by the time you're watching this, you're probably already seeing one of them, but we'll get back to that when we get back to that, I guess. But for lack of better terms, be sure to, as I said before, like those videos and subscribe, and follow my Twitch and my links down below. I have stuff down below that y'all can follow, and by the time of uploading this specific video, I should have a new Instagram up for anyone to watch, or I said to watch, to keep up to date with my personal content. It will be down linked in the description. But with that being said, y'all have a great day.